2023 Toyota RAV4, Mazda CX-50, and Honda CR-V. Which crossover SUV should you buy? That's what we're going to find out. Welcome to Car Help Corner, where we help you, the consumer, master the process of car buying and car ownership. If you want to buy a reliable, well-designed, and value-packed crossover SUV, Mazda, Toyota, and Honda make some of the best options available on the market right now. But when push comes to shove, which of these three SUVs should you ultimately buy? The CX-50, the CR-V, or the RAV4? And should you buy them over other SUVs, like the Subaru Forester or Outback? Well, stick around until the end of the video because that's what we're going to find out. And if you enjoy and get value out of this video, make sure to subscribe to my channel. I post 2 videos a week, always straight to the point, valuable car buying advice, designed to help you, the consumer. Now, given that I've already made an in-depth comparison video between the CR-V and RAV4, which you might want to take a look at, we're going to start off behind the wheel of the CX-50. Now, why did I choose the CX-50 for this comparison over the CX-5? Well, there are a few reasons for that. Number one, the CX-50 is an all-new model for 2023, so I wanted to see how it compares against the Honda and Toyota. Size-wise, it's also a little bit bigger than the CX-5, which makes it a better rival for the RAV4 and CR-V. In addition to being slightly bigger than the CX-5, the CX-50 is also intended to be a little bit more off-road oriented, with a more rugged exterior design and a little bit more off-road equipment, especially if you go for the new Meridian edition, like the one that I'm test driving here. But ultimately, there really isn't a huge difference between the CX-50 and the CX-5. They do overlap in many areas, sharing more or less the same platform, the same components, and the same drivetrain options too. The CX-50 gives you 2 different drivetrain options to choose from, a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine, making 187 horsepower and 186 pound-feet of torque, with a 6-speed automatic transmission and standard all-wheel drive. On the higher trims, like the one that I'm test driving here, you also have the option of the same engine, but only turbocharged, where it produces 227 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque, or a little bit more power if you run it on premium fuel, although that's not a requirement. The turbocharged power of the CX-50 is where it has a huge advantage over both the RAV4 and the CR-V. And the other benefit of having all that power is having much better towing capacity too. The base engine is able to tow up to 2,000 pounds, and the turbo engine can tow up to 3,500 pounds, much better than the RAV4 or CR-V, which are only able to tow around 1,500 pounds. It's also a very smooth and refined engine, as is the 6-speed automatic transmission. And the other benefit that you get with this drivetrain is great reliability, especially with the base non-turbo engine and 6-speed automatic, which Mazda has now been using for over a decade. But that being said, this drivetrain is certainly not perfect, and its biggest drawback without question is the fuel economy. It's only rated for around 23 to 30 miles per gallon, or 8 to 11 liters per 100 kilometers, and honestly, I've been struggling to achieve even that. Both the RAV4 and CR-V achieve a better balance between offering adequate performance and good fuel economy, and that's before you even consider the hybrid options. If you go for either the RAV4 hybrid or CR-V hybrid, you should be able to achieve up to 40 miles per gallon or 6 liters per 100 kilometers, but more on the hybrid options a little bit later in the video. Although the fuel economy of the CX-50 is not the best, it is the winner in this trio when it comes to performance, and you don't even necessarily need to go for the turbo engine either. The base 2.5 engine offers more than adequate performance for an SUV like this. And whichever drivetrain option you go with, you get a great driving experience with decent ride quality and excellent handling, easily the best in this trio. Although both the RAV4 and CR-V do have decent ride quality and good handling, especially the CR-V between the two, the CX-50 really takes things to a new level. You can really tell that Mazda was kind of trying to make this the sports car of crossover SUVs. It has really nicely weighted, precise steering and excellent cornering behavior, which is something that Mazdas have always been really well known for. But the CX-50 is not just about performance and handling. Mazda also tried to make this a very capable off-road crossover too. Much like the Subaru Forester and Subaru Outback, the Mazda CX-50 comes standard with all-wheel drive, which is an option on both the CR-V and RAV4. You also have different drive modes, including an off-road mode and a tow mode, which is nice to see. And if you go for the top-of-the-line Meridian edition, like the one that I'm test driving here, you also get all-terrain tires with unique wheels. This is a somewhat similar setup to the trail or adventure trim that's offered on the RAV4, or the wilderness trim that's offered on both the Subaru Forester and Outback. It's pretty clear that Mazda not only wanted to make this a great performance SUV, in terms of its acceleration and handling, but they also wanted to make it a very capable one too, especially for that Subaru crowd that really values having some off-road capability. I think one other area where the CX-50 has a clear advantage over both the CR-V and RAV4 is with the interior design. Over the past several years, Mazda has been increasingly well known for offering really nice, high-quality interiors with a lot of high-end finishes and materials that really make it feel a lot more like a proper luxury SUV. Although I would say the interior does feel more premium and luxurious than what you get in both the RAV4 and CR-V, it's not necessarily better, however, when it comes to its functionality. Although you do get very straightforward climate controls and great gauges behind the steering wheel, the infotainment system is not exactly the easiest to use. You have to control it using a rotary dial on the center console, which is not quite as straightforward as just using a simple touchscreen like you get in the CR-V or the RAV4. Having said that though, you can use touchscreen capability with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which does have wireless capability. The CX-50 also seems to be a little bit better equipped than both the RAV4, but especially the CR-V, offering some really nice features like a color head-up display, a premium Bose sound system, heated and ventilated front seats, and an extra-large panoramic sunroof. The CX-50 is also the winner in this group when it comes to safety. Although all three of these SUVs come with a lot of great active safety technology, which is great to see, the RAV4 and the CR-V are rated a top safety pick by the IIHS, whereas the CX-50 is rated a top safety pick plus, which is the very best rating that you can get. But that being said, even though the CX-50 does have the nicest interior when it comes to luxury and features, it's not exactly the best when it comes to seating comfort or interior space. The front seats, for example, are not quite as comfortable as the ones found in the CR-V or the RAV4, with this stitch seam going down the middle, which feels a little bit like it's giving you a wedgie. And even though the interior space in both the front and rear seats and the cargo area is better than in the CX-5, it's nowhere near as spacious as the RAV4, but especially the CR-V, which is the clear winner in this group when it comes to total interior space and cargo space. And that brings us to pricing. Now this is one area where the RAV4 is the clear winner in this group, offering the best value, ranging in price from around 28 to 40,000 US, or roughly 35 to 45,000 Canadian. The CR-V by comparison ranges from around 32 to 40,000 US, or roughly 40 to 50,000 Canadian. And finally we have the CX-50 ranging from around 28 to 40,000 US, or roughly 40 to 50,000 Canadian. Now, why the huge price difference between the US and Canada for the CX-50? Well, that's because in Canada, we only get the CX-50 in the higher trims, starting with the GSL, which is the equivalent of the Preferred Plus trim in the US. As a whole then, when you look at pricing and the features that are included on each trim, the CX-50 and the RAV4 are the winners of the group. But then another huge part of pricing and value has to do with reliability, cost of ownership, and resale value too. And in this area, all three of these SUVs are fairly evenly matched. All three of them have an exceptional reputation when it comes to reliability, and any one of them would be a great choice to buy and hold on to for a long time, upwards of 10 years or longer, with minimal repair and maintenance costs. Even though the CX-50 is a new model, as mentioned earlier in the video, it is just using a lot of well-proven Mazda components, which have been around for a long time and have proven to be very reliable. And because these are all very desirable SUVs too, they also all have very strong resale value on the used car market, which means you're going to get a lot of your money back if you need to sell or trade it in down the road. So in the end, which of these three SUVs is it ultimately going to be? Well, let's start with the CX-50. If you want to have the best SUV in terms of power, performance, and handling, but also an SUV with a lot of style and luxury, the CX-50 really is the winner of the group. But if you prefer to have something that's on the more comfortable side, with more interior space and cargo space, and also better fuel economy, then the CR-V is the better choice. The RAV4 by comparison doesn't exactly stand out in any particular area, but it is still a very well-rounded SUV that does a lot of things perfectly fine. And it also offers the best value for money in the group. And then of course you have the major elephant in the room, which is the fact that both the CR-V and the RAV4 are available with hybrid options, which is something that you can't get on the CX-50, at least not yet. No question, having that hybrid option with much better fuel economy gives both the CR-V and the RAV4 a huge advantage over the Mazda. And even though I think the CX-50 is the best option in this group if you just want a traditional gas-powered SUV, The reality is that a lot of buyers do want to have a hybrid for that better fuel economy. And if that's the case, the CR-V, but especially the RAV4, does make a better choice, thanks to its amazing value. Having said that though, there is a rumor that the CX-50 is going to be offered with a hybrid option in the near future. And not just any hybrid, it's going to be the exact same hybrid system that's found in the RAV4. Toyota happens to own part of Mazda, and we can see that collaboration with the CX-50, which is actually manufactured in the exact same plant as the Toyota Corolla Cross. So it would make sense for Mazda to use a Toyota system to introduce a hybrid in the CX-50. Hopefully that does happen in the near future, but in the meantime, the CX-50 is only the best choice if you want a traditional gas SUV. But if you want to have the best SUV overall, well, it's still going to have to be the Toyota RAV4 hybrid. So let me know what you think of these three options. Which one of them would you buy, or would you buy something else instead? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. You can also take a look at my other car videos by clicking these links over here. Make sure to follow me on TikTok and Instagram. And if you need any additional car buying advice, recommendations, or help with getting a great deal on your next new car purchase, make sure to check out carhelpcanada.com. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next time.